We are back with another draft analysis, and today we're talking about low tier Mayhem. This is slowly becoming maybe one of my favorite draft league formats. I did really well in it last time out. Actually, the best Wi-Fi league I've had in a long time. And I'm super excited for this season. We've unbanned a lot of very powerful Pokemon. Pokemon like Lycanroc, Dusker in the metagame now. A Pokemon I really enjoyed using this year. Gengar is back in the metagame. Will we finally find a metagame Gengar is actually good in? It's not even going to be ADV draft. Will it be good in SV low tier? Let's see. So many cool new things to come out, and I've got a super powerful team. If you guys are excited for today's video, make sure to like the video and subscribe if you have not already. We are so close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, and every subscription helps a ton towards hitting that goal. So when we get into the draft here, we ended up with the 14th pick, which, you know, when OG Albina's on the randomizer, it's bound to happen, right? You're always going to get a crappy pick if you're me. But with all these unbans, it kind of creates a situation, especially in Wi-Fi, where a lot of players are looking to try the new thing. And that often will lead you with maybe a boring Pokemon in round one, but damn, a sure good one. That's happened a lot with Meowscarada. I've got Meowscarada twice at the back wheel in BBR. And today we have Goodra-Hisui. What a pickup this is at the 14th pick. This was one of the top picks, I think, in the last low tier mate, in the last LTM we did, which kind of speaks to what we've unbanned, right? We've unbanned a lot of Pokemon, a lot of few new Terra Captains, really trying to bring more to low tier this time out. I think one of the things with last season is, at least that I found, was I was not close to using all of my points with the powerful options left. There definitely needed to be a few more powerful options in this metagame. And man, that means I'm getting Goodra at 14th pick. I'll take that. There are not a lot of fairy types in low tier, just due to the nature of all the fairy types being good as a product of their typing. And the fact that you get that powerful Draco Meteor on 110 special attack with the 150 special defense, you also get the steel typing to punish all those fairies, especially Terra Fairy. A lot of the times when I played low tier last time, when I had Regidrago, that threatened a lot of powerful Draco Meteors and such, you see people use a lot of Terra Fairy to get around that. That's not an option with Goodra-Hisui. I can drop a Flash Cannon, that Pokemon, no problem. So this Pokemon, especially as a first round pick, is so powerful. Got good offenses. It's got decent attack as well, 100 attack, right? And like you have decent coverage, like Earthquake and stuff like that. You know, you have knockoff. So much good stuff going on with this Pokemon. But what you're really here for is that 150 special defense. Such a good special wall, especially in a metagame where we're open Terra. There are a lot of powerful Terra Captains. Having a Dragon Steel typing, very good defensively, forces some awkward Terra types. Super excited to have this Pokemon, especially at the 14th pick. This is a perfect type of Pokemon that I love to use. Next up, we go for our Terra Captain in Sinistcha. This is a Pokemon, dude, I think this is the second time I'm shouting out Jason in a video. We can't be doing this. We can't be talking about Jason that much. He was using Terra Sinistcha, I'm pretty sure, just Sinistcha in general, to really good effect in the last BBR season. And I saw that, I'm like, man, this Pokemon's really interesting. This Pokemon's really good. And we have Terra Sinistcha allowed in low tier. Now, there are some very powerful Pokemon Terra Captain-wise available here. The main one being Terra Gyarados. I used that a lot like a couple years ago in the GBU. And that Pokemon was really good in SV, just generally, was like a low tier Terra Captain. It's got to be broken in low tier too, right? Like it's a Pokemon, but I didn't want to use it again. And I saw Terra Sinistcha, I'm like, man, this Pokemon seems super fun, super good in low tier as well. Gives me a ground resist from my Goodra-Hisui, right? It just pairs so well with that Pokemon. It gives me a ghost type. Like there's so many things to like about Sinistcha. And it's one of those Pokemon that can, you know, operate, you know, as a potentially defensive check. Gives me a little bit more of a physical check here. And that typing, but it gives me a win con. And if you know and kind of understand and kind of get a perspective of how I like to play, I love win cons. Like setup win cons, I love playing towards an end game where a setup win con is the way to win. That's one of my preferred ways to play. And Sinistcha gives you so much flexibility with that between Calm Mind, Iron Defense, as well as just being a pretty good defensive piece. And a good special attacker like Machagacha is like a crazy move, to say the least. Like Strength Sap is such a powerful move. So many good utility moves on the Sinistcha as well. But my hope is with the Terra, this is going to be an offensive powerhouse and a game winner for me. So next up, we go for Tauros Paldea Aqua. I think we dropped this Pokemon a few points from last time. this Pokemon is still pretty good. This is a water type primarily on this team. An intimidating water type is obviously very, very useful in draft. You see something like Quillfish that I picked up in the last league. We'll get to that in the next video for that league. It's just super, super useful. And this also helps turn the corner a little bit. It gives me a priority option. I have Aqua Jet. It is another setup option with Bulk Up. It doesn't get Sword Stance though, unfortunately. But with the Intimidate and the decent bulk, like this is just a pretty decent bulky water type that can also push through and break the normals, which will be pretty important for something like Sinistcha. You know, having it that we can break those normal types and make Shadow Ball a free click against our opponent's team. Because like Machogacha is good, of course, but not 100% accurate. And like Ghost typing is like a little bit better than Grass type in terms of like coverage broadly. So if we have a good way to check normal types, that's going to be super awesome. And then a good water check, you know, just a Pokemon, just, you know, a water type, bulky water. In theory, not a lot of, you know, recovery on this Pokemon, but certainly this is like just a really good kind of mid-ground offensive, defensive Pokemon. It really can leverage that Intimidate as a bulky water and then help turn the corner on some of those key normal types that might hold our team back. So we get into my next pick of Talonflame, and at this point, looking at the board, one of the things with low tier that can be difficult to manage is you can run out of options really quick for rolls. And we get to round 4, and there's not a lot of Pokemon with speed left on this draft board. It's funny, they're all fire types as well. I remember taking this Pokemon, joking with Kurt, looking for more speed options. Like, why are they all fire? Why is it only fire type Pokemon? This metagame dominated by fire type Pokemon. Nice to know. We got Tauros, Paldea, Aqua, good bulky water for those fire types. But Talonflame was a good speed option. At 126, it is going to be at the top end of that speed, right? Like that is going to be one of the faster options that you have available. The problem is the rest of the stats leave a little bit to be desired. We're going to be forced to run boots on this almost every week, just due to the nature of the fact that it will be spoilers or only hazard remover. It is a defogger, so we do have hazard removal on this team. I know Thriller is going to be super gassed to see that, but as a speed option, I will say this Pokemon does lack a little bit, but what it lacks in terms of power, it makes up in terms of like broad utility. It has just so much going for it on its moveset. It maintains a Roost, which is important for a Pokemon like this. SD is a really popular set that you'll see. Spidef Bulk Up is obviously a very, very good set as well with something like this Pokemon. You have access to Will-O-Wisp, which is nice. Taunt for utility. You have all the special moves as well. I guess you have Agility, not like that's ever going to be too relevant. But this Pokemon's got a lot going on for it still, despite the fact that like as a pure speed option, you know, when you're looking for those 100 pluses in the base stats for attacks, doesn't have that. Flying coverage is, one, still very, very good, and two, this can still provide a little bit of defensive value, given the fact that it has Roost, makes up for a little bit on its defensive weaknesses. But overall, the goal for this Pokemon is to be the fastest Pokemon in the matchup, threaten those speed tiers, and maybe be an endgame win con if need be. Mudsdale, there's not much I need to say about Mudsdale, right? Really reliable ground type, sets up Stealth Rocks. Earthquake, very powerful Earthquake, 125 base attack, by the way. Like, these Earthquakes are not trivial to switch into. And in a metagame like a low tier, where everything's just like kind of like weaker, finding these type of Pokemon that can put offensive pressure on, especially like from your defensive Pokemon, really, really stressing out your opponent's defensive backbone is going to be super key in a league like this. And with stamina, right, like Earthquake Body Press is such a good set of coverage. The only thing really punishing that is like a flying type, and you have Snow Nudge for that. Like, Mudseal's got a lot of really good coverage. As a primary Stealth Rock role, this Pokemon has a lot going on for it, especially in low tier, and this is why I've used it quite a few times, right? It's just a solid, reliable ground type that gets up Stealth Rocks, deals a lot of damage, trades. You know, I look at Pokemon like this, it's like, how much % damage are you doing over the course of the game? And between the powerful Earthquake, a Body Press at +1, the setting up the Stealth Rocks, you're easily going to be doing over 100% damage with this Pokemon across your opponent's team by putting this on your team as a Stealth Rocker. So super excited to have this Pokemon. Now we start to get kind of near, we get to the Pokemon I didn't like. Okay, this is what I mean by low tier, right? One of my big things about low tier is it's a format where you're trying to bring a bunch of flawed Pokemon together to make a cohesive unit. And Monkey Dory is like the perfect example of the flawed Pokemon, right? It's got a lot of special attack, 130, it's got a 106 speed tier. That kind of helps in that speed tier, right? We have 126, we have 100, now we got 106. So our speed tiers for low tier looking pretty decent. The problem is this Pokemon, it just has not seen the success in any of the formats that it's been in, which is kind of surprising, right? You look at 130 special attack, I think it's really that 106 speed that's holding it back. But low tier is a much slower format. And that's where we're really going to be hoping to take advantage of this Pokemon in a slower format, is to say, look, we have access to Toxic, which is going to be super good against a lot of these bulky Pokemon, not a lot of Steel types as well. So in a bit of a slower format, Toxic becomes that much better. Taunt, great move. Nasty Plot as well, gives me an extra win condition. Super awesome. This Pokemon is like the perfect, it has all the tools, it feels like it should be good, and it just hasn't put the numbers on the board. And I think low tier is a perfect opportunity to use it, and it's got the perfect speed tier for this format. We just got to show that it can actually leverage its strengths in this format. And I believe in it. I'm looking at this team. I really wasn't happy with this pick at the time because it's the only option that wasn't a friggin' fire type at this speed tier. But I'm actually kind of happy with it now going into this. Next up, we have Frostlass. This gets us our 110, which is super nice. So now we have like, what, 106, 126, and 110, and 100. So really good on the speed tiers now. But this is a spike stacker through and through, right? Like, this is just like the perfect lead Pokemon, especially in low tier, right? If you run into someone without hazard removal, or you run into someone who's weak to ice types, this is just a perfect lead and a perfect check at the 110 speed tier. Like, this is... for me, I'm a big dedicated lead guy when it comes to building my teams. Drafting them is kind of whatever. But like, this is like truly the perfect lead that you can have, especially in a tier like low tier. Will-O-Wisp, Thunder Wave, Trick, Taunt, Spikes, Screens, Haze, Destiny Bond. Like, it's got every utility move you could possibly want out of a lead. And our main goal is to get up hazards, put a little bit of offensive pressure with that ice and shadow coverage. Wow, shouldn't be recording this in the morning. Ice and ghost coverage. Jesus, just super powerful Pokemon. So super excited to have this one. Next up, we got Dunsparce here, and Dunsparce is I think it's like a decent normal type that I'm looking to have. Right, like it has obviously some win con sets that could be super good, but it's just a neutral wall. You need some of these Pokemon to help you get around your team a little bit, and we have good Pokemon on the defensive side of things in terms of the Mudsdale, and this just gives me a lot of HP to work with, still more defensively focused, but allows me to spam Glare, which is super nice, so players are going to have to really focus in on that. It also has Toxic as well, which is nice, and Roost, so it gives me a little bit of longevity. I can kind of Toxic spam some opponents out, bring that ADV strat to SV low tier. I think this is just a decent Pokemon, a decent normal type. Boom Burst is obviously very powerful, really forcing some prep out of your opponents, but overall, this is going to be a defensive wall, right? Like, this is going to be there just to help me get around my team as kind of a defensive kind of backbone to a lot of teams that you're going to need to build, because we do have a lot of offensive Pokemon on this team that we kind of need to use these Pokemon to get our way around the team. We're going to go through quickly to the last two Pokemon because they're not super exciting. Regirock here it's just another Stealth Rocker. It's a good rock type. It's a flying resist, which is super nice. This team was definitely lacking on the flying resist aspect, so picking one up here is super nice and gives me access to another Stealth Rocker and just another good utility Pokemon. So I'm also just like go to defensively, like 200 defense is kind of crazy. It does have like a lot of interesting setup moves. A Pokemon that, like, as I've called to ADV a lot here in this video, but certainly a Pokemon, if you've watched ADV Draft League, has certainly started to really perform in that metagame, and I think will be a decent addition to this team. And then last pick, we pick Cutiefly. Look, you know what? I don't know. I'm not a big Sticky Web believer, but if I can force people to prep for Sticky Webs in their prep, then I'm good with that. That's good value. And hey, maybe I run into someone who doesn't have a spinner, and I can bring a fine Pokemon team, bring Cutiefly, throw webs up on turn 1, and we're good to go. So that is the team for low tier Mayhem. A little bit of a more of a showdown analog style draft analysis this time, but I think I kind of want to get into more waffling than I usually do with stuff like this. I think that kind of plays to my thought processes and my kind of my commentary a little bit better. So let me know what you thought of the draft analysis in the comments down below. Let me know what you thought of the team in the comments down below. Super excited to get going with this one. Week 1, we play against Jason. That's why we're always talking about him. He's on my mind. We're playing him this week. Going to be super exciting battle. We always have a great battle. He just came off a loss in the finals of the BBR against Shea Bear. He's going to want to get back in the winning column. So let's see if we can get him. Let's see if we can get ourselves on a 1-0 start. And we'll see you all in the next one.